Hey everybody, welcome to Bend with Bree. Today we're going to start seated on our mat, lifting our hands above our head, hands to your heart. Deep breath in, hands to heart. Deep breath in, hands to heart. Very nice. Today we're going to be focusing on back bending and core. So start by placing your hands on your knees and rounding out your back, arching, rounding, arching, rounding, arching, rounding, arching, rounding, arching, rounding. Then go to make some spinal circles here, just circling out, loosening up, warming up into your spine, stretching out your core a little bit when you make these circles. Switch directions. Perfect. So come back to seated and go ahead and roll onto all fours here. We're going to do cat-cow, so arch your back, round, arch, round, arch, round, arch, round. Now go to make circles with your spine. We're focusing on just the spine and hips here, making those circles. Now go ahead and switch directions of those circles. So similar thing to what we were just doing seated, but now we're doing it on all fours. Wrists below your shoulders, knees below your hips. If you have a mantra for today's practice, go ahead and choose that now. Mine for this practice was I am strong. Go ahead and drop into a puppy pose. You can either have your forehead, or if you're feeling more open today, your chin on the floor. Then come into a wide-kneed child's pose here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to round forward, come to the ground, up into up dog, then arch back. Round forward, cobra, belly to mat, up dog, child's pose. Round forward, cobra, belly to mat, upward facing dog, child's pose. So continue with that here. Rounding, cobra, belly to mat, up dog, arch back. Rounding forward, cobra, belly to mat, and then just take a second here, lie down. You can sway your hips a little side to side, making a little pillow with your hands. Now go ahead and go into upward facing dog and round back into child's pose. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch the direction here. So you're going to push up into upward facing dog and then arch back into child's pose. Arch forward, cobra, belly to mat, upward facing dog. And I apologize, it's round back. So you're going to arch forward into cobra, belly to mat, up into upward facing dog, and round back into child's pose. Arch forward into cobra, belly to mat, upward facing dog, and round back into child's pose. Go ahead and hold in child's pose before coming into a downward facing dog. Just a gentle downward facing dog here, stretching out your calves, your spine, before dropping down to your knees, then up into then up into downward facing dog. You can arch your spine here, then round, arch, then round. Think of arching at your tailbone and then tucking your tailbone under. And I'm holding out the rounded position before I'm coming back into an arched, Then we're going to come into a core exercise. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring your knee to your elbow, then back into downward facing dog. Knee to elbow, down dog. 2, 3, 4, 5. Great work. You got this. 6. Now we're going to bring it to the opposite elbow. So in a twisted position here. 7. 8. 9. 10. 'Now go ahead and round forward into plank. Hold your plank for a breath. Hold, hold, hold. Drop down onto your forearms here. You got this. I am strong. Now we're going to come into an obliques exercise, dropping your hip from one side to the other. So left, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right, left, center, right, left, center, right, left, center. Then go come down into Sphinx pose. So you're going to think of isometrically pulling your shoulders back, keeping your legs engaged. Now push up into your hands, down to your elbows. Hands, elbows, hands, elbows, hands, elbows, hands. Hold here. That gets into your upper back before coming down. Head to the floor, making a little pillow with your hands. And you're going to grab one of your feet with the same hand and stretch out your quad. So this should be relaxing, just a gentle opening of the quadricep. Now what we're going to do is lift and lower that leg. So lift, lower, getting deeper into the quad. Be careful here. Lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, hold, before switching sides. So grab the opposite foot, stretching into your quad here on the other side. Lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, hold, and go ahead and drop your foot down. Then what we're going to do is you're going to grab both feet and we're going to come into a bow pose here. So what you want to think here is not letting your legs go too far apart. Deep heart opener here. Go ahead and come out of that. Now, if it's in your practice, you can grab the inner arches of your feet, getting deeper into the shoulders, coming back into a bow pose. If that's not in your practice, keep your hands where they were. And go ahead and come out of that, making a pillow with your hands. Just resting here. Now put your hands in the back of your head and we're going to lift and lower, strengthening the back. So lift, lower. With flexibility, it's very, very important to make sure that you have the strength to support the flexibility so you don't have issues later in life. Lift, lower, lift, hold, hold, hold. Hands behind you. Come to a locust pose, lifting your legs. Hold. Go ahead and come out of that. Push back into a wide knee child's pose. Perfect. So what we're going to do here, go ahead and sit on our heels for a moment. We're going to take some deep breaths in and out, in and out. Now go ahead and round your spine. Arch, similar to how we started here. Round, arch, round, hold, 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 arch. You can drop your hands behind you here. Run your hands up your legs before coming back to seated, spine straight. Now what I'm going to have you do is drop your hands behind you on the mat. You're going to lift your hips, getting deep into the quads. So lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift. Go ahead and put your head back. Deep heart opener, quads. You can lift one of your arms here, then the other. Both hands to the mat and go ahead and come out of that. Bring your knees together and go into a child's pose, just neutralizing the spine here. It's really important that when you go into really deep back bend postures, you're neutralizing your spine. Now go ahead and bring your feet in front of you and give yourself a hug. This should feel really nice. We're slowly coming down to the mat. So what we're going to do is bring our legs up towards the sky, feet flexed, hands up, and you're going to bring your hands to your feet 20 times. So using your core to lift and lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower. Again, the movement shouldn't be coming from the momentum of your shoulders. It should be coming from your belly. Now drop your feet to the mat and come into 10 bridges. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Working into the glutes a little bit here. Lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower. Back into the ab exercise. So feet flexed, legs up, and touch your toes 20 times. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Really thinking of lifting with the inner part of your core. Drop your feet to the mat, 10 bridges. Down, up, 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 down. One more round. You got this. Feet flex, legs up, touch your toes 20 times. Feet down. Now we're going to come into those 10 bridges. Remember your mantra. Mine was I am strong. Legs up. Now there's two options here. You could bring your legs into a tabletop, or if you're more advanced, extend your legs out, and we're going to come into a Pilates 100. So just pumping your arms up and down 100 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep going. I know this is difficult after the 3 rounds of exercises we just did, but you got this. Keep going. Pumping the arms up and down. Now go ahead and bring your knees in. Give yourself a quick hug. Bring your feet to the mat and then come into a butterfly pose, but lying down on the mat. Supta Baddha Konasana. I have my hands on my belly here, feeling myself breathe. Just letting my whole body relax into the earth. Bring your knees back up, hands to your side. Then we're going to just come into a bridge pose, but you're going to clasp your hands underneath you, letting your hips lift a little bit higher here. Go ahead and drop down. Bring your feet to about the edges of your mat and let your knees fall in, just giving your low back a release. Now, if it's in your practice, we're going to come into wheel pose, or you can stay in bridge, but you're going to bring your hands by your ears, take a deep breath in, and then lift up into wheel. So the variation we're going to end up taking today is with straight legs. So I want you to push into your shoulders, make sure your core is engaged, and then extend your legs straight. This is going to get really, really deep into that upper back that is sometimes neglected. Deep, harder up under here. Bring your feet back in. Hold and wheel. Now we're going to engage our shoulders. So you're going to decompress and then lift your shoulders. So lift, lower, just your shoulders, not your elbows. Lift, lower, lift. Now you're going to dip your hips and lift. Dip, lift, dip, lift, dip, lift, dip, lift, dip, lift, getting into a different area of the back, dip, lift, dip, lift, go to lower all the way down here. Feet out towards the edges of the mat, let your knees fall in. Breathing here. I brought one hand to my lower belly and one hand towards my heart. Feeling myself inhale and exhale and my heart beating. Perfect. So we're going to do that again, leveling up just a little bit here. If it's in your practice, please be safe first. Hands towards your ears, lift up into a wheel. Then if it's in your practice, we're going to drop into our forearms. So keep your core engaged as we do this. You can bring your feet into your head, go on your tippy toes. That was pretty deep, so I dropped my heels here, but you can stay up there. Then what I'm doing is lowering my head towards the earth and lifting. So lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift. Push back up into a wheel pose. Lower all the way down. Come back into that Supta Baddha Konasana, so butterfly pose, lying down. And then I brought my opposite hand towards my heart and the other hand towards my belly. You can bring your hand wherever feels best for you. Maybe both hands are at your heart, both hands at your lower belly. Maybe they're down by your sides or grabbing your elbows above your head. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come into a final core exercise. So we're just going to do some bicycle crunches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep going. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Stay strong. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now speed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Burn out. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Just relax. For a moment, you're going to let your hands fall under your glutes. We're going to do a counter pose here. So you're going to let the crown of your head go towards the earth into fish pose here. Keep your legs engaged. Then you can drop fully towards the earth. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug. You can roll side to side a little bit here. I felt like I was going to roll right over, so I didn't stay in that very long. Keeping your knees toward your chest, you can drop your head. Just make some circles with your legs, bringing your knees out and then in, out and in, out and in, then in and out. So switching directions of those circles. Loosening up into the hips a little bit, the low back. Come into a child's pose here. We didn't really work deep into our hips today, so this is just felt instinctual to me. You can take whatever pose you'd like. I extended one leg, then the other. Then you can extend both legs here. Back to child's pose, if you're following me. Then come into a butterfly here, but feet lifted before dropping them to the mat, back into that Supta Baddha Konasana. I have both hands at my heart. That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.